What's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, and right now, this is another episode of The Composition, and today is Monday, August 31st. Whoa, whoa. Last day of August, last day of the third quarter, and then we're getting into the last quarter of the year, and man, how was y'all's week last week? You know, last week was really, last week was a roller coaster, and it was just all like we're leading up to this full moon in Pisces happening on Tuesday going into Wednesday, and I definitely been feeling it, you know. Last couple of weeks have been very interesting. You know, the one thing that I want to say, because this was a part of my weekend, but I feel like every person is a song in God's playlist. And it's interesting because this weekend it was like everything kind of came to a head. It was like, losing a family friend and, seeing everything we've been seeing on the news. And then with Chadwick Boseman, I was devastated. Like, if you heard the podcast as far as on Saturday, like, I was completely devastated. And so I could have, I felt like what I needed, I had got, which was diving into the world of psychedelics. And look, I don't want people to think that psychedelics are a form of escapism, because I know I personally do them very rarely. And when it comes up, it kind of comes up, and then, I go through what I need to go through during that time. And this time, it was just a lot of purging emotionally. It is just all like with this water sign of a full moon we got, it was a beautiful experience for sure because, when we think about loss, when we think about the completion of a life, we sometimes we can think that that's it, but the same way that there's stages to matter, like water, you go from these different stages, and I feel like it's the same when it comes to life. And there's a point, during this psychedelic trip, it lasted for a good 6 hours. It felt like it. It felt like maybe it was legit like 20 minutes, but that's how much was going on during that time. But there was a point where I was in this kind of middle place, and it was like celebration. Everybody from Chadwick Boseman to Kobe to everybody. It was a celebration. Like, it wasn't this negative thing. Even people that I've known that lost, that I've lost. It was such a beautiful, like, it's like this indescribable, thing. And I know some people, I know they hate when it's just like, but, and it's just all like, look, God takes a whole lifetime to explain to us, like, what this all means, My bad. I thought I heard somebody. Um, so it's just like when looking at these different things, I take all that into consideration. And it was like this playlist. My friend had a playlist, and we was just sitting up there jamming out. And there was just this combination of seeing songs as colors and then just things morphing into this like physical blobbish kind of thing. Like it's definitely something that, I need to sit down more with. I wrote some of it down. I have some of it in my head. I'm always fascinated with how much I remember, because it's a small percentage of what actually like went down. So that's always fun. So, I'm it the week kind of just ended on this weird, like, just it was definitely just this combination of life. Like, it was like when I was going through this trip, there was just all of these negative and positive things, but it all came together and it was just beautiful. you know so mm, 'cause I really didn't do a recap on the last week on Saturday. My goal last week, when it comes to this 90-day challenge, right now we're starting week 3, and then we have 12 more weeks to go. For last week, it was to post on Facebook and IG stories every day, and then it was to stick to a schedule. Mm. And then, what was the third thing that I had to do? Stick to a schedule. Brainstorm, maybe it'll show up. It'll connect. So, but post the IG stories, stick to a schedule, and it was one other thing, and I'll find out here in a little bit. But I felt like, for the most part, I did stick to the stories every day. I did do that. It may have not been both Facebook and Instagram, but the way that the stories kind of work, I have to do it in a way to where, even though it's a new day, if I do it halfway in the day, then it will still count for that original 24 hours. So even though I would put something new for the day, depending on what time I had did the one for the previous day, it might not be 24 hours yet. And so within that, it overlaps. And so I think, when thinking about that and thinking about the scheduling, so for the most part, I kind of followed the schedule, kind of didn't. It was a combination of, there was a lot that got done, and everything kind of fell into this weird schedule, but it wasn't. I realized more and more that without that schedule, there's a lot of stuff and a lot of time, not necessarily wasted, but there's some, that time could have been definitely used to either take that relax mode, or to take that time to tighten up a few things. So, for the most part, as long as the podcasts were going out, that's a lot of what I was trying to do. Now, this week, let's see if I can kind of think of it on the spot, because I just meditated today. I had just did yoga, so now I'm a little bit more grounded and kind of like, all right, let's see what's actually going on, what I actually want to accomplish, reflecting on this third quarter, looking at what to accomplish in the fourth quarter. So in regards to this week, and if you're wondering why you hear like weird breathing, it's because I'm smoking the composition CBD pre-roll. So shameless plug. Go to dabtro.com/shop and check out some CBD. See if I got what you need there to help you out. But so what I do each week is I do want to continue doing the things that I did do as far as the week prior. So this week I'm still going to continue to put out Instagram stories. Now I want to get a little bit more intentional and do a little bit more with it. Also see other people's stories just to see what's going on with that. Okay, but something new. So I try to add 3 new things this week. So, what is something that's gonna benefit? Because a lot of what I'm doing is continuing the consistency, but also trying to continue with like brand awareness. So, this week, I want to pick 12 people to consistently comment, um, and even share their stuff. So I'm not sure exactly how I want to break that down in a day, um, but I feel like that's going to be one of them because I want to be more engaged, especially with the people that, has been there. Like, they deserve it. I'm building up a platform myself, so being able to get them on there and help out where I can is the least that I can do. Um, so yeah, there's going to be that. The second thing, and I'm trying to do things that really help with what it is that I'm doing, because it's more so just like when you're in the gym, you have a week of doing a particular amount of reps, or a particular type of exercise in general. So these are kind of like what I'm doing weekly. I may space them out and maybe not do them weekly in that sense. You know what? I'm gonna do this because since I didn't even fully complete, last week with those 3 things, I'm gonna add the engagement, but I'm gonna continue doing those other things. I don't know what that third thing was, so fuck it. We're gonna do Instagram stories every day. We're gonna do an engagement and share with 12 people, and we're gonna do sticking to a schedule. Now, work type of things that I'm doing, I do want to learn more about the Instagram Reels, and that way I can properly engage with it. So, on the sense of work, I'm going to be doing that, and I'm actually write a lot of this. I'm write a couple of this down because I need to actually figure out what I want to do this week for work. There are several things that I can do, but I do want to make sure that I'm finding time to record and also really get into the marketing aspects of things, especially when it comes to the things that I do. It's like I do so much and I have not yet put it in a full-fledged system. I've created systems, but when I think about like, all right, I'm doing this, this, and this. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because it's gonna help with the building that consistency muscle. Because I know myself, I've known myself when it comes to you know me and my music and putting it out there, I've definitely gone and done a lot. I've had a lot of help as well, and I appreciate everyone who's helped me. Like it's been a journey, but I know on what aspects is keeping me, or I'm keeping myself from a particular level, and it's not to say like I'm doing it on purpose, because I literally like I sometimes you don't know, you have a feeling, like an inkling, that you're like self-sabotaging yourself sometimes, but sometimes you just don't realize it, and I think with a combination of kind of seeing how things actually work to get certain types of results, it's been integrating a lot of that knowledge and destroying a lot of those old beliefs and expectations on how things are supposed to happen, you know all as far as on their own. There's a lot that you control, so I think about how much I've not promoted my music, or not promoted a new video, or all of these different things, and then on top of that, there was inconsistencies when it came to releasing and sticking to times and different things like that. And on a psychological level, there's reasons why you do a lot of these things, but what I've been doing is getting out of trying to do everything in a day, and really structuring out and giving each thing its ample amount of time, because that's the thing, you can do whatever. You just have to make sure that each one is getting the necessary amount of time needed to nurture that thing, because if you look at it like a plant, not all plants need to be watered the same, not all plants need to be treated the same. Some can go a little while longer than others without water. They kind of like grow on their own, but it's up to you to see what does that. So an example of that would be, if you do certain popular videos, or you've attached your brand or something creative that you've done to something that constantly is always getting searches, that's something that you may not have to water all the time and promote all the time like that, because it's kind of organically doing its own thing. You can kind of, every once in a while, but you're not going to give that the same amount of, water that you would something that you need to water every single day. That's not something, that video that's constantly growing, that's not something that you have to water all the time. But maybe when it comes to something that has to deal with your vlog or your personal brand, or what it is that you represent, or something that's more, niche, or if you're trying to get more people as far as on that level, then yeah, that one's gonna require some watering every day. Again, not every piece of content does, not every business that you have does, but there are elements, there are, you just have to really sit down and think about those things, and then when you find out what's what, maybe the issue is that you have too many things that you do have to water every day, you know and then it's a question of, can you get some help? you know. And I feel like when you get to that point, I feel like when you get to that point, then you will get the help. Sometimes sometimes, because I know I do this myself, and I find that this happens 9 times out of 10, maybe even a 10 out of 10, but I'm slightly skeptical. Uh, but I can say that usually when I'm at the point where I actually need the help, then I get the help. So sometimes you'll be like a step or two prior to when you need help, but you're worried about the help, and it's just like, yeah, but before you get the help, like, you have to do this, and then you have to do this, and then the help will arrive. But you're like so worried about the help that you're not doing those two things that actually get you to the help. So that's a lot of what I see that I do a lot of times. And I see that happen in business. I see that happen, all over the place. People worry about like the next 3 steps, and they have not even started yet. It you have to do those things, and when you're completed, then you'll act like it happens that way. Like, it really does. So I think that I'm gonna end it on this note. I wasn't expecting this podcast to go this way, but I like it. That's good. That's very, very good. So anyways, this is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. Make sure, if you're hearing this on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're hearing this on Anchor or your favorite podcast platform, go ahead and boop, add me to your playlist. And if you want to support me directly, you like what it is that I say, you're vibrating with me, then, there's plenty of ways in the description for you to support, whether you want to work directly with me with my services, or you want to get my album or my book or CBD, whatever. I got it. So, if you just want to throw an old-fashioned donation, I appreciate that as well. It helps me continue doing what it is that I do and keeping that 9 to 5 away, because it is not good for my creativity. But yeah, this is another episode of The Composition. Enjoy your week. Peace.